Last October, a man named Gerald pulled a 2014 Camry into my driveway with a printout from his dealership sitting on the passenger seat. The paper listed a throttle body replacement, a fuel induction service, and a diagnostic fee. Total at the bottom, $1,340. Gerald is retired. He drives that Camry to church, to the grocery store, and to his daughter's place 40 minutes away. And for the past 6 months, the car had been telling him something was wrong in a language he couldn't read, a small stumble pulling out of a parking lot, an idle that felt like a nervous leg bouncing under a table, and the number that finally sent him to the dealer, his gas mileage. That Camry spent 10 years getting 32 miles to the gallon on the highway. By the time Gerald came to me, it was getting 24. Run that math with me, because this is the part nobody puts on the estimate. Gerald drives about 15,000 miles a year, which is normal for most Americans. At 32 miles per gallon, that's roughly 470 gallons of gas. At 24, it's 625 gallons. That difference at around $3.50 a gallon where Gerald lives is over $540 a year burned for nothing. Now add the repairs people buy trying to chase the problem. New spark plugs that didn't fix it, an air filter that helped for a week, fuel system cleaning at the quick lube. I've watched drivers stack $600 or $700 of parts and services on top of the wasted fuel in a single year, which is how a problem this small ends up costing families $1,200 or more before anyone finds it. Here's what I did with Gerald's car. I opened the hood, loosened one hose clamp, and backed out two small screws. I pulled out a sensor the size of my thumb, sprayed it with a can of cleaner that cost about $7 at any parts store, let it dry in the sun while we drank coffee, and put it back. The whole job took less time than his dealership kept him waiting at the service desk. The stumble was gone that afternoon. 3 tanks of gas later, he called me to say the Camry was back above 31 on the highway. The dealership wanted $1,340. The actual fix was a spray can and 20 minutes. Before I show you exactly where this sensor hides in your engine, how to know if yours is dirty, and how to clean it without damaging it, let me introduce myself. My name is Bob Jones, and I spent my working life under the hood, most of it fixing the mistakes that estimates like Gerald's are built on. This channel exists so you stop paying shop prices for driveway jobs. So do me a favor right now, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell, because every week I break down another repair. The industry hopes you never learn to do yourself. It costs you nothing, and it might save you a 4-figure repair bill this year alone. All right, let's find this thing. The part I pulled out of Gerald's Camry is called the mass airflow sensor. Mechanics call it the MAF. It sits in the intake tube between your air filter box and the engine, and on most cars you can see it from above the moment you open the hood, a small plastic housing with an electrical plug clipped into it. Its whole job is to measure how much air is flowing into your engine second by second and report that number to the engine computer. The computer takes the air reading and matches it with fuel. That's the entire deal. Air comes in, the sensor counts it, the computer injects fuel to match. Inside that little housing is a heated wire thinner than a human hair. Air rushing past cools the wire, and the computer measures how much current it takes to keep the wire hot. More air, more cooling, more current. It's a clever design with one weakness. The wire has to stay clean, and it lives in a river of incoming air over tens of thousands of miles, dust, oil vapor from the crankcase system, and the fine grit that sneaks past every air filter settle onto that wire as a film. The film insulates it. Air can't cool the wire the way it used to, so the sensor reports less air than the engine is actually breathing. The computer believes the sensor completely. It never double checks. It just injects the wrong amount of fuel every combustion event all day, every mile. That's why the symptoms feel so vague. a hesitation when you press the pedal, like the car takes a breath before it goes, a rough or wandering idle at red lights, harder starts on cold mornings, sometimes a shudder merging onto the highway, and underneath all of it, fuel economy that erodes so slowly you blame the gas station, the weather, or the age of the car. Your check engine light, usually stays dark through all of this because that light is calibrated for outright failures. A sensor that lies a little doesn't trip it. The car just gets worse by degrees, and drivers start budgeting for a new engine that was never sick. Now, before I walk you through the cleaning step by step, I want to tell you about something I put together for exactly the kind of driver Gerald is, because this sensor is one repair out of dozens that work the same way. I wrote a guide called The Driveway Mechanics Money Manual. It's a digital book you can read on your phone, your tablet, or print out and keep on the workbench, and it covers the 40 most overcharged repairs in the business. Each one broken down the way I just broke down the sensor, what the part does, how shops price the job, what it actually takes to do it yourself, which jobs you should genuinely leave to a professional because those exist too, and knowing the difference is worth more than any single trick. I'll give you an example straight out of the manual. Cabin air filters. Dealerships routinely charge $60 to $90 to replace one. The filter itself costs $12 to $18, and on most cars, it slides out from behind the glove box with no tools in under 5 minutes. The manual shows you where it is on the 20 most common vehicles on American roads. That one page pays for the entire book the first time you use it. There's a chapter on battery terminals and why a $3 pair of felt washers prevents the corrosion that gets diagnosed as electrical problems, a chapter on brake jobs, what pads really cost, and the 3 words that stop a service writer from padding the estimate, a chapter on every fluid in your car, which ones are lifetime fluids in name only, and the intervals I actually used on my own trucks for 30 years. The manual also includes the 2 printable sheets my own customers use to ask me to photocopy. One is a maintenance schedule built around what parts actually wear instead of what service departments want to sell at 30,000 miles. The other is a glove box card with the 6 questions to ask before authorizing any repair over $200, including the one Gerald could have used, which is simply, did you clean it before you condemned it? I've had readers email me that a service writer's face changed the moment they pulled that card out. Estimates have a way of shrinking when the person across the counter realizes how the game is played. There's also a plain English section on reading your own trouble codes with a $20 scanner. So the next time a light comes on, you walk into the shop already knowing what the code means and what the honest fixes cost. I price the book the same way I think about repairs. It costs less than half an hour of shop labor, and it's a one-time purchase, no subscription, no upsell waiting. Inside, the link is in the description right below this video. First line, you can't miss it. If you drive an older car and you're tired of feeling cornered, every time you sit across from a service advisor, that book is me sitting next to you at the counter. And while you're down in the description, if this video has already taught you something, tap the like button. It genuinely tells YouTube to show this to more drivers who are getting quoted $1,300 for a spray can problem. Okay, gloves on. Here's the actual job, start to finish. First, park the car, shut it off, and let the engine cool. Disconnect the negative battery terminal. That step matters because on some vehicles, the computer needs a clean restart to relearn its idle after the cleaning, and pulling the terminal handles that for you. Second, find the sensor, follow the big intake tube from the air filter box toward the engine. The MAF is mounted in that tube, usually within a foot of the filter box, held in by two small screws, often Torx or Phillips, with a wiring plug clipped to it. Press the tab on the plug and pull it free, back out the screws, and lift the sensor straight out. Handle it like it's made of glass because functionally it is. Never touch the wires inside. Your fingertip carries enough oil to undo everything you're about to do. Third, the spray. This is the step where people wreck a perfectly good sensor, so listen close. You must use cleaner labeled specifically for MAF sensors, not carburetor cleaner, not brake cleaner, not electrical contact cleaner. Those leave residue or hit the hot wire too hard, and either one can kill the sensor for good. A can of dedicated MAF cleaner runs about $7. Hold the sensor upright and give the sensing elements 10 to 15 short bursts from a few inches away, rotating so the spray reaches every angle. You'll often see the liquid run off gray or brown. That color is your gas money. Fourth, patience. Set the sensor somewhere clean and let it air dry for at least 10 minutes, 20 if it's humid. Do not wipe it. Do not blow on it. Do not use compressed air. The cleaner is designed to flash off on its own and take the grime with it. Fifth, put it all back, sensor in, screws snug but not gorilla tight, plug clicked home, battery terminal reconnected, start the engine and let it idle a few minutes. Some cars idle a little odd for the first drive while the computer relearns. That's normal. Within a tank of gas, you'll know exactly what that sensor was costing you. Do this once a year or every 20,000 miles if you drive dusty roads, and you will likely never buy a MAF sensor in the life of the car. Compare that to the $300 to $500 a shop charges to replace one for a part that was usually just dirty. One honest warning before we close: if you clean the sensor and the symptoms don't improve, don't keep spraying it. Check the intake tube between the sensor and the engine for cracks, because a split rubber boot lets unmetered air in and mimics every symptom I described. I covered that inspection and what a fair price looks like if the boot needs replacing in the intake chapter of the Driveway Mechanic's Money Manual, along with photos of what a failing boot looks like next to a healthy one. That's the pattern through the whole book. Clean first, inspect second, replace only when the evidence says so. Shops run that sequence backward because the backward version pays better. Grab the manual through the link in the description while it's still at the launch price, because once you read the brake chapter alone, you'll understand why some shops would rather I hadn't written it. So that's the sensor costing drivers $1,200 a year, and the $7 can that fixes it. If you found this video worth your time, you know what to do. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you catch next week's video where I'm covering the lifetime fluid your transmission was never meant to keep, and drop a comment below telling me your car's year and model along with the worst estimate a shop ever handed you. I read everyone, and your story might be the video that saves the next Gerald in line. I'm Bob Jones. Take care of your car, and it'll take care of your wallet.